Hi, this is Shailesh. As part of the Phi Trends family, I would like to today present this video in association with DubaiTV.ae. I would like to start with, I would like to state that we would be coming up with various podcasts as well as a video series which will discuss about investments, entrepreneurship, as well as the real life experiences. I hope this will constitute a learning that we had over the last 25-26 years of working in the industry and creating businesses will be helpful for you in terms of either doing your own investments or starting your own business. We will try to create the videos in a very short and lucid manner, and we are really hopeful that it will help you improve the financial literacy. Today in the first video we're going to talk about an expat from the Gulf when he makes his money, wealth, and he starts looking at investing, doing the first real estate deal back home. What are the different factors that he should consider? I moved to the Gulf region almost 20 years back. My personal experience has been that when we move in as an expat into a different country, usually you're uncertain about the environment and how you're going to work and what does it hold for the future for you. But as we all settle down, we see that we start doing well, we start making some money, and we start saving some money. And when we have saved a certain amount of money, at that point in time, the first decision that usually comes to our mind, or first thinking pattern that comes to our mind, is that we should buy a real estate back home. Maybe it's different for different people, but that's what came to my mind, and I believe that happened to a lot of my friends. A lot of that could be because of the family pressure or a peer group pressure. It's not only about investment. Now in this video today, we are not going to cover the part that where you have to buy a real estate because your parents are there, or your family, your wife, your kids are there, and they have to stay because they are staying back in your home country. But we're going to cover here today, if you have saved a certain amount of money and you're looking to invest in that country as a real estate investment where you're looking to make a yield or increase in the value of that property. That's what we're going to cover in today's video. My learning experience shows that there are 6 things that we need to consider while investing in properties back home. The first and the foremost, and this is not only for real estate but any investment that we do, I think it's important to know what is the reason why we are investing this pool of money or investment into real estate back in our country. Why not in anything else? And what is the problem that is going to solve for us? We're going to stay back in another country. We're going to have to pay the rental for the same. And are we going to rent it out? Is it just a holiday home that when we go back for 20-30 days in a year, we're going to stay there? What is the problem that this money that you're going to expense, how is it going to help us? That is a very important part to consider. It may not be financial, it could be something else, but it is important for us to consider that why are we doing this investment? How is it going to help us? After we've decided what is the purpose that this investment is going to solve for us, I think the most important and very important factor that you don't get in the books, nobody tells you that, and this is where the learning comes in, you should consider is that how does your home currency behave vis-a-vis the income that you make in a different country. So if suppose, for example, people staying in the Gulf, their currency is pegged in dollar, or most of these countries are pegged in currencies that are pegged in dollar or to a basket of currency. Now when you go back in your country and start investing, you need to look at how does your home currency behave with respect to the dollar. invariably you will find out that in the last 40-50 years there's a significant depreciation in the home currency that happens with respect to the dollar. That means it doesn't matter what property you buy, it is going to depreciate in value. Even though your property might be doing well, the value of the property might increase, but because of the currency, your value is going to drop every year by approximately between 8 to 15%, depends on which country and what time, how much variance you're taking into account. So that research you need to do before you go into investing into property. The second, a very important aspect that we, staying in the Gulf, actually, we forget is that we have back home a lot of taxes. I know till 3 years back, we were not used to taxes in the Gulf as well, but with the VAT introduction, we understand a little bit about taxes. But way back home, when you buy any property and you're going to do a calculation, what you need to consider the income tax if you're going to put it on a rent, the capital gains tax if you're thinking of selling it. So these are 2-3 different factors, different taxes that you need to take into account. Fourth factor, what we all need to consider that the pool of money that we have deposited or we have saved, is it good enough to buy the whole property or with our cash that we have, or are we going to take the mortgage? The mortgage, you might think that in the current environment of very low cost or low interest environment, it might be good for us to take a loan or mortgage to buy a property. But also at the same time, please do consider the fact that if you lose a job or if your salary gets downgraded in difficult conditions, which is just exactly where you are today in a pandemic, what happens then? How will you repay your mortgage? What happens to the money that you paid over the last 5-6 years, the early money, key money that you paid in to the bank, the mortgages that you have been paying for 4-5 years? If you cannot pay for it, what happens to that? So this is something that you need to take in your calculation, whether you will have enough money to pay back the mortgage if you are taking a mortgage. This is a key consideration when buying a property. The fifth factor would be whether you have the liquidity that is required when you need it, because we all know real estate is illiquid investments. It's not like you have it in a stock market, a liquid stock in US markets or Indian markets or in Pakistan or Dubai or anywhere that UAE or Kuwait or anywhere that you can sell your shares and take your money that you need it, even though maybe at a loss. But real estate, you have to find a buyer. And I can tell you that today from 26 years of investment experience that it doesn't matter what you buy. When you buy a real estate, a broker will tell you a different story, and when you go back selling the same property back to him, even after 1 month, you will certainly hear a different story. And particularly you will certainly hear a different story if you're in an environment like a difficult market condition, economy going down, a pandemic happening. So exactly at the time then you need the liquidity, because either you have lost your job or you're going back to your country or your salaries are downgraded, you need to run for your family, you need to take care of your family. This is exactly the time when you see a different story. So you need to take into factor with period of time, if you are going to hold it for the next 20 years, how the economic cycle is going to be, and if you are pressured to sell the property during a down market, what potentially could have. And the last factor is, I must say that I think all of us should improve our financial literacy. We will try through Phi Trends to do this, but at the same time, I think there is a lot of knowledge which is available. Maybe not so much learning, but a lot of knowledge is available through Google and various websites. I think, and there are many books available, I think we should all try to improve our financial literacy, because buying a home or buying an apartment or buying a house is not about only buying a property. You need to consider also the fact that, like every human being, every property has also depreciation value. So property is going to be depreciated. So you need to maintain it over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So you need to consider what are those factors. You need to take into calculation your returns, taking those. Every property today has a service charge as well. You have an association where you need to pay a service charge. So these are again different factors, or you could have a car parking that you need to pay for. All I'm trying to say is that please take everything into consideration. So when you sit down and you do the mortgage payment, you take the final payment, you do the return, the yield, you need to take all these calculations into consideration. Summarize the whole discussion of this presentation that we had. We believe there are 6 factors, 6 simple factors that you need to consider while buying your first real estate investment back home. That the first would be, what is the purpose it's going to serve when you're buying this property? The second would be, how does your home currency behave with respect to your income generating currency? The third factor is, you need to take all the taxes into consideration. The fourth factor is, are you going to take a mortgage or you have the money to buy? And if you're going to take the mortgage, how that's going to imply in your calculations. The fifth factor would be liquidity of the real estate asset that you're buying, whether you could sell it at the time when you need it, at what price. And the last factor is to take into account all the different costs that are involved while maintaining the property, and your calculation that you're going to do, and hopefully financial literacy helps in that. If you think you can add value to the life of people through your knowledge and experience and learning experiences, and you have a certain skill set that could help the entrepreneurs and startups, please feel free to do a short video or a podcast and send it to us at hello@phitrends.com, and we will make sure that we try to make you popular among our community.